Mike Weiler, hi everybody, how you doing? Yeah, I wanted to get you thinking that I was lagging or something. Did it work? Yeah. I was trying to be like really still.
Savannah Broadway. This is my bird wife Belly with us for the first time in a couple weeks, I think. Exactly. They're her ears technically, but
Definite badass. Claudio here has touched upon the greatest things in our lives. Like he's gotten to work on Lord of the Rings and fucking Star Wars and Dungeons like everything that I care about basically Claudio has got to get involved with. So I'm super jealous. Like when you get a Marvel cover, I might come kill you, Claudio.
Um,
is it like Highlander? You
how
going to
would
like absorb his
you
powers?
respond? How would you respond to a trading card?
Oh no, were you
A
you weren't in the
Marvel trading
90s?
card?
No. What's that? What's that?
I can say it's upcoming.
Oh, oh my god. Oh, so yes, we are in the shadow of greatness right now. I'm just
Sadly, it's Marvel because I'm more of a
yeah.
Justice League fan. But
I know you're more of
what are you gonna
just
do?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm wearing a Claudio t-shirt actually.
As you usually do, if I
I
remember right.
do almost all my t-shirts are Claudio t-shirts at this point.
here you go. Hey,
Well, Claudio is also he also did the cover for this adventure that I wrote, and then this book which has Savannah on it as well, and
It's
then
true.
this book too. So it is
Some books.
more blood, more blood.
more blood. Yes. See, it's a thing. Indy was talking about it last episode. There's just like a she expects a more blood email every time. Yeah, more blood.
That's it.
Ah.
I was gonna make a politics joke, but on second thought, no. I was gonna make a politics joke when he said orange vomit, but better not.
See, I didn't bring my hip waders today, so I don't know that I want to wade through that.
What was I watching the other day where I was like, man, I remember when I cared about the president. It was like it wasn't like Independence Day, but it was one of those movies, and everybody was like paying respect to him. And I was like, oh man, you remember that? Remember those days,
Yeah,
Mike?
can't
uh,
imagine.
Claudio's in more of
Uh,
a authority situation compared to our terrible '80s Justice League scenario
Oh,
going on
good.
right now. So I can only imagine what your thoughts on it all
I'll
are.
just drop this. Last year, when the election results came in, my son cried because he could not believe what was happening in the world. We, yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
commentary.
I will yell things. Things. I would go last because I want to really
Mm.
dig into Belton, the giant serial killer.
As they are wont to be, really.
Yeah.
Don't mention evil games. Oh my god, I once played a Minotaur who was a cleric of the god of death,
Oh no!
and the other players petrified, chopped to pieces, and then made hamburgers, depetrified and made hamburgers out of me.
Oh, good.
That's great.
Good.
Sure. Okay.
Ah.
Sure.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's in the basement. Duh.
I mean, they're not exhibitionists. They're just blood orgyists.
It's gotta be so hard to keep a blood orgy going.
Oh, good. Whoops.
Pow, chicka, pow, chicka, pow.
Whoops. Of course, as you do. Right.
Dear Penthouse, I never thought this would happen to me.
I'm like wondering, it's got to be so hard to keep a blood orgy going because, like, you just need one person in the middle of an orgy to be like, ew. And it just ruins the whole orgy. And I can't imagine getting through that bridge without, like, with the blood everywhere. Like, somebody would have to be like, man, that's a lot of splurging. Like, Hi, everybody.
You gotta
It's
choose
not
your blood
lubricant,
orgy
it's
partners
not
carefully.
lubricant.
Did you gag everybody, maybe? Okay, so it's like keeping the show going. All right. Okay.
And what was that, Claudio?
You fall in lava, you die. No save.
Oh no. Oh no.
um,
Please tell me you statted them like a swarm and called them like swarm of urchins.
Oh, red swarm for the orphans.
okay.
Oh man.
Sounds even. My evil game, they just finished giving an old woman dementia, and one of them has figured out that he's got a sexual disease, which will eventually make him into a werewolf. Yes. Well, it's a special kind of werewolf under the control of the ministry. So you kind of become like a dog slave.
So it's
Oh,
a
good.
beach wolf.
Yeah. We'll see if you get out
Yeah, I
of it.
don't have any cool gaming stories right now because the most gaming I'm getting is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Yes, yes, it is. I love the design of the monsters, and I'm trying to think of some new exploration rules for D&D right now, using stuff from inspiration from Zelda.
Cool.
So I don't have much in the way of gaming stories right now.
Yeah, I feel like weather, like it gets incorporated slightly into my games, but I feel like Breath of the Wild made me want to incorporate it more because, like, if it starts raining and you want to climb up that cliff face, you're just kind of screwed until it stops raining. Or it's like, oh man, lightning storm suddenly. Hope you didn't, have metal armor on or metal, literally anything.
You have
But
a bunch.
also the thing of like when your weapon sparks and you can like chuck it at a monster and then it explodes into lightning.
Yes, that's a cool tactic. I just today I was doing the trials for the Master Sword, where
Ooh.
you enter the sword with no equipment and you have to survive. And I was running around the beginner trials of the Master Sword at the Korok Forest. You have to place the Master Sword there, and then you go into the sword to unlock more powers. And I was running around with a pack of moblins after me, and I was just creating remote bombs and dropping them and running and exploding them behind me. So fun times, fun times.
They
If
do die
they
instantly in
fall,
water though.
yeah, they die instantly in water. And I've had one. It fell so long that I don't think it survived the fall.
See, I feel cheated though. Like if I knock them down a giant mountain, they shouldn't survive that giant mountain. Yeah, no, I just keep falling down that mountain, damn it.
Well, I mean, that saves a lot of space in game design if you can not have to map out that whole field.
I suppose.
Yeah. That always bothered me because, like, when I play Fallout 3 was amazing because you could jump over fucking everything. So you could walk into areas from the back, like, all the time. I don't think I ever found an area the way I was supposed to. And then I played Fallout New Vegas, and I was like, what the fuck is this? There are these invisible walls.
Zelda, me too. I love going around the areas, and then all the fortresses and protections that the monsters have set up are facing the other direction. And I just keep killing them from behind.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it turns out those spiked barricades are so much more palatable when you're at the other end of them. So I'm between two other ones. Guys, should I discuss why nice is different than good from the evil point of view? Or should I talk about the Hummingbird Prince?
First one, I think.
Okay. So I feel like it gets talked about a fair amount, which is fair, about how, you know, when you're lawful good, you're not necessarily lawful nice. Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's usually, okay, so you're a paladin, you don't have to let your less lawful good party members, like, walk all over you. You don't necessarily, like, you know, you have some flexibility. You don't have to be nice, even if you're lawful good. So I feel like it isn't addressed quite enough that whenever you're evil, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're always a dick. Yeah, well, there we go. Let's see, I got a link in here. Clinton Boomer did an entire, like, blog post on, like, basically how to calculate the party's loyalty to each other if you do an evil game.
Oh.
Which is really interesting. It's like, oh, well, we grew up together and we worship the same God, so, like, we're buddy. Like, you know, we'll defend each other from the other members of the party, but we'll defend the other members of the party from everyone else. Sort of thing. And, like, there was, like, a scale that had, like, things you had in common with, like, I think it's if you wanted to, like, screw them over, he suggested that you roll against your loyalty score to see if you could, you know, make yourself do this dastardly thing to this person that you have loyalty to. Yeah, I'm a little back and forth, honestly. I think it might be interesting from an NPC perspective. Like, if you had an NPC, like, I don't know, cleric or something, and, like, he has the chance to bail on you, like, you know, it would feel kind of cheaty as a GM to be like, nope, sorry, he leaves you by. So, like, you could have them roll.
Really difficult in an evil campaign to keep everybody from, like, stabbing each other in the back.
Yeah. Oh, well, there we go.
Well, DC Comics had the Secret Six comic book that Gail Simone wrote. And
oh yeah,
the
Catman.
Evil.
Yeah.
Bane, Catman, Deadshot, Scandal Savage, who is Brazilian, by the way. And they were pretty evil, but they were dedicated to each other. Bane kind of adopted Scandal Savage as his surrogate daughter because he thought that she lacked a proper father figure and all that. But they were still evil.
Yeah, and
they just weren't evil to each other. They were dicks to each other, but other than that,
Vandal. So wait, Scandal is the one with all the poison, right?
Scandal had a couple of blades that were cursed and all that. Yeah, but she used poison stuff. She had short hair.
Yeah, I remember in the first part of the series, one of them did betray the rest of them, and then
I think Ragdoll betrayed them.
I think Ragdoll betrayed him too, but I thought it was the Poisoner who did it first. I might be confusing it with Deathstroke from the 80s. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh no. That's adorable.
That's after the new 52, right?
Okay. So I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it was right before Rebirth, when the Titans began remembering everything.
Was he Arsenal or was he Red Arrow? Okay. All right. That was what was confusing me. I was like, I don't remember that from the 1970s comic. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? All right. All right. Okay, so we were talking about evil. Let's talk about Belton the Giant Serial Killer and whether or not Belton is evil. So
Also, I would like to talk about his title, because under its current phrasing, it sounds like he's either a giant serial killer in that he's prolific, or he's a giant who is a serial killer.
well, the full title is Belton the Halfling Giant Serial Killer. Because I
Right,
like
but
the
it still
inversion.
sounds like he's a giant halfling,
So-
which I guess makes him a human. Like, it just, the wording's confusing. The serial giant
All right,
killer.
so let's roll it back. Let's roll it back. Belton has been in this party for a while, and they've just started to figure out there's something like wrong with his desire to kill giants. And he's like had this bag of giant ears he's been collecting and like using to taunt living giants. And in the last game, they stopped in a settlement. And they're like one dude, Jack the Giant Killer, leader of the party, goes to like hit the prostitutes up, and then like the ranger goes to talk about how awesome Jack is, and the healer goes to do healing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna start a riot and like get them to go and lynch a giant because fuck giants. Belton is totally racist against giants. His only thing is killing giants. And with some amazing persuasion checks, he like mounts up a whole like 12 or 13 villagers, and he's like, okay, we'll go get Jack the Giant Killer and go get my ranger friend because I can't track giants. I just killed them. They're both like, no, we're not doing this. You're going to kill these poor people. And I'm like, okay, well, at least get the healer. And the healer's like, no, I don't want to die in the forest with you. So we get a big wagon because the Jack the Giant Killer pointed out that lynching a giant will be extremely difficult because we'll need like a 40-foot tree with a massive bough.
It's true.
But I explained that we don't need to lynch a living giant. We can lynch a giant corpse and get the same effect. So, yeah, he takes him out of the woods, finds a giant. He's a fucking 8th level sorcerer, so it wasn't really a fight. And then they drag it back, and now there's like a frost giant's burned corpse hanging outside the town, like against a tree with a noose around its neck.
Oh,
Now-
good.
The GM is of the opinion that there is original sin in the game. So, like, I think he's like, oh, we could do like percentile roll, and maybe there's a 10% chance that a frost giant isn't evil. But like in a world where you definitely know, like, okay, it's big, it's white, it's hairy, it calls itself a giant, it's fucking evil. Is it evil to be a serial killer of those things? Or does that make you a good person? Hmm. I feel the bag of ears says malevolent intent. Mm-hmm.
If you do evil things to evil creatures, you're still doing evil things.
That's true.
A good character would eliminate an evil monster in the least painful way possible. Yeah, but
That
then
doesn't
they die
necessarily have
as
to be
quickly as
painful.
possible.
It's just explosive.
Yeah. So, all
Yeah,
right.
Your halfling serial giant killer is definitely evil.
I think so. I mean, like, I've
agree.
been playing him, and I know he's evil.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
no,
don't think we have any counter
I
arguments.
wanted to
actually.
see what was going on with the party because, like, they were definitely cool with the bag of ears, and like, he got at one point, he got a giant to pick up the corpse hand of another giant to try to like trick some magic, but like, really, he was just entertaining himself because he couldn't kill this one that was friends with his party. So, like, that's serial killer, right? That's just very much serial killer to me. As soon as you like work to convince somebody to pick up a corpse hand, like, you are definitely not doing something good.
I mean, we could definitely discuss like the serial killer aspect. Like, I think he's solidly evil. I feel like serial killer is something of a flexible definition that may not like work necessarily in this context.
It does imply like a structured society for your prey.
Right. Well, and like, you know, when you serial kill someone, you don't really face them in combat per se. Like, he's still like a serial murderer, but like serial killer is a term. I would see that like he has this like evil compulsion, and like you might even say that it's premeditated, but like there's just some other qualifiers there.
And I think the racism has a big part of it too, right? Like there's a lack of dispassion to it.
Right.
And I think if it was dispassionate, like a good hero would try to be dispassionate in dispatching giants or other monsters, right? Oh yes, he's definitely gleeful.
Oh, good.
We'll see if his alignment changes, but I'm interested to see how long it stays, because like they haven't killed this character, and this is the party notorious for killing my characters. And of course, the serial murderer is the first one where they're like, "Oh yeah, stick around."
This guy, it's fine.
This guy, he's cool.
Good. Sure.
I kind of want to keep talking about this. This is fine. Let's go. Let's go. Favorite? Yes. Yes. I have a new thing that's because I've been talking about Book of Gazelle of Darkness for months, which I'll be returning to in a couple days. But I give myself a break between finishing the manuscript, which is 237,000 words, which is way too many words. Yeah, I kind of went way overboard. Well, justifying being evil characters took a little bit more space than I anticipated. And then not for here. Anyway, I'm working on FEUD Primordial, which I am most proud of because it is a name that does not have of or the or any other articles in the title. Oh, I'm sure we have many of them that have both, yeah. But like, yeah, at one point I was just like, God damn it, something without a fucking article. FEUD Primordial, and it's pretty cool. I had like all the maps ready, so it's pretty straightforward. Well, I mean, there's some mystery involved, but you start. It's a Mists of Akuma adventure for 5th edition. I should start there. Yeah. For 5th level characters, and you start in media res. So like, you're chasing after an Oni touch sorcerer building a cult, and you like burst in the cult, fuck it up. A trader shows up. He's like, "Oh, I will buy those shitty goods from you, so you don't have to carry them around. You clearly don't need them. Why don't you just take the valuable goods? I'll give you this money. I really need something. I'm going to be embarrassed when I show up in Nasudo, and help me out." And of course, the idea is the PCs sell him this like rice and barley and tea and add-on lamps and fucking turtle wax cream is the important one that I hope people overlook. And then the Bangoshi that hired them to do this gets really fucking pissed because he needs the turtle wax cream because secretly it's for one of the Imperial siblings, specifically the guy who's all about turtles. And so the PCs have to go chase after him into this other city, and there's like this Oni rolling around killing people, also trying to get it because she wants to get it because she's kind of Oni where like her reflection is a demon and like her actual monstrous form, and she otherwise looks like a beautiful woman, so she wants to use the turtle wax cream to fix that. And yeah, I don't know. I'm finished with Act 1. I have to write Act 2, Act 3. All the monsters are done. Almost all the maps are done. I think I have to do one more. But yeah, I'm looking forward because like I spend all this time on these massive books, and then when I just do an adventure, it's like, okay, I have the outline, I have the maps. A week passes, I have the PDF, and I'm sending it into the printer. Like, why don't I just do adventures? Why do I torture myself with this gigantic fucking tomes?
I feel like everyone who's worked with you has asked that at one point or another.
Yes. Oh, it got so complicated that I have this thing. I made a map of the character so I wouldn't get fucking confused. And that is the map.
There we go.
I just put it in the Twitch room so people can click and stuff.
So here's the real question, Mike. How many shurikens would Cool Shredder give this adventure that involves turtle wax?
Well, I mean, I don't think
It
I'm
implies
giving...
the death of like a turtle, right?
If they managed to keep the turtle wax from Karusu, he'd be pleased. But he'd probably only give
Actually, I
it
don't know how turtle wax works. Is it made from
half a
turtles?
shuriken. It took me some research to find it out because it's not just turtle wax; it's turtle wax cream. Like there's a thing about it, and and even some places say don't do it. That's not good for the turtle, but they still make it as a product. I don't know.
Oh, so it's wax you put
Yeah,
on a
yeah, yeah.
turtle.
It's wax you
Okay,
put on a turtle. Yes, yes, yes.
so much more sense. Never mind. Cool Shredder
And
would not be down with this at all.
and this all came because I found a really, really good piece of Kiwi artwork with turtles stacked on top of one another and crabs wrapping ribbons around them. And I was like, what can I do with this?
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, and then also this will be on Roll20, and before I release it, I think the Robai Shida Temple Adventure I'm gonna make for free on Roll20. Right now it's $10, but yeah. That's it. Sorry.
Next, dead air. Of the stuff I can talk about, after I did the art for Xanathar's Guide to Everything, I did 2 more D&D books
Cool.
that are coming out this year. And after that, I did stuff for Alternity, for Sasquatch Game Studio, and I still have to finish one illustration for them. And I got one last minute rush job for Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Ooh. I still need to play Lamentations. It sounds real good.
But after that, I'm wide open. I don't plan that far ahead. I'm trying to get 1 week of vacation while my son is on his summer break, so I can travel. Go for it.
So I am getting ready to dive into edits for the expanded Lost Age stuff. If y'all remember, we had Keith Laker on several weeks ago at this
The
point.
Savannah animal people.
Yes,
Yes.
but not Savannah animal people.
The Savannah, not
Savannah animal people.
Yeah.
No, they're not mine. But anyway, point being is that I'm doing the expanded edits for that. More as it unfolds. Also, hey, I had scones today. Go me.
Ooh.
Yeah, they were cranberry orange zest. It was real good.
I've never had a scone because I'm allergic to milk, and I'm pretty sure you have to have milk to make a scone.
Yeah, buttermilk is part of what, like buttermilk is essentially lemon and milk, which I don't know why they call it buttermilk. But anyway, it works with your baking soda and your baking powder and makes them puff like that. So yes, it does. It may not necessitate milk, but it necessitates something along those lines.
Okay.
has many pages.
I don't know. Don't tell me.
That sounds unsafe. Like, I'm just gonna point out, as the resident Sam the Eagle here, that does not sound safe. It's not safe.
Cool.
Not even a little bit safe. Not even a little bit safe.
So it's like very much soldier-oriented combat. What's the next? Weirdos of Red Sector? Or... I mean, I just think they're thinking ahead. That's all. Like, yeah. What you gonna do? Okay. So next topic is favorite new projects that are not ours, from which we do not profit.
Indeed.
A friend of the show made In the Company of Dragons, which is an awesome book, and they have made it much bigger. It's now like 199 pages. It's called
It's
In
so
the
many
Company of
pages.
Dragons Expanded. Include
Good stuff in there.
Adventure by Ben McFarland and like a bunch of setting information and I assume all of the Pathfinder dragon things that you could possibly want to do as a dragon character.
And then some more.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember I printed out the first one and like I read and I was like, man, this is really comprehensive. So like I saw they added Lenorms and like a whole bunch of something that Steve Russell wrote before he passed away is included in there too. So,
yeah, he did a lot of the Lenorm stuff.
Yeah.
Also, in the original, when it came out, do you remember if it addressed, like, I guess you'd call them true dragons and, like, their place in the Lost Isles?
I don't think it did, no.
Because it addresses how, I think it's Darkened and Bloodied, one of the, like, High Council Elder Dragons, how her, like, consort is, like, an ancient red dragon. And for Tananim, the distinction between, like, Tananim and, like, you know, red, gold, whatever dragons, like, to them, that's fairly important. So it's interesting how their standing is lessened, because Tananim get bigger through experience, and whereas, obviously, other dragons do not.
It's a cool
See?
book. And Savannah
is.
obviously supports you getting it as well. So that's 2
Absolutely. With
suggestions.
its Savannah edited words and all that fancy stuff. So I was trolling about Drive-Thru RPG, finding something to talk about, and then found out that somehow my account had the language set to Spanish.
It does that sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you unchange that? Because I know just enough Spanish to be dangerous, and it's not enough to find how to change the language setting.
Go down, open it incognito, and you should be looking at an English version, and then just click on the same buttons. It'll be the same thing.
Okay. But yeah, so part of what I found was a product called Dark Cities, which seems really cool. It's supposed to be a bunch of scenarios for like urban adventures and stuff, which I feel is somewhat underaddressed in the adventure path stuff. Because I feel like there are a lot of character classes that benefit a lot from not just an urban setting, but like staying in one urban setting. What's that? Yep. Yeah, Rangers would be good. Wizards, I feel like, are just sort of inclined to like settle down, spread out, and have a nice tower somewhere. And they keep dragging off on adventures, and I can't quite figure out why. Alchemists, I think, would like it. An urban druid, I think, would appreciate it. But it also brings in, and I hope this book maybe addresses some of it. If you're in the same city, you can't be a murder hobo. Like, not in the same way. Like, I've been in games where, like, our party blew in, murdered a bunch of cultists, broke several international laws, and then blew out. And that's fine, but, like, you can't do that when that's your hometown. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, at Hypercore, we addressed that, Savannah, right?
Yes, but it's not addressed enough. Like, almost no one addresses that. Yes, no, that's actually an even better example. Our group, like, literally was in a different city almost every session because we kept pissing people off in town.
Yeah, you were like, okay, we're in Pittsburgh. Oh, no, the heat's on. Let's go. We're in New York. Oh, no, the heat's on. Let's go. We're in Toronto. Oh, God, the heat's on.
Oh, no, we were in the Adirondacks, and then we were in Toronto, and then we're like, fuck,
Guys,
I don't know, but we're leaving Toronto.
Like, we can't do a settlement right now.
Yep. Just go start commune. It's fine.
D20 Ravenloft had something along those lines. Yeah, even elves and dwarves got higher scores than a human. A halfling and a human will get the lowest, and the more different you are, the higher your chance of being run out of town with fire and pitchforks. And there were towns that were more insular. So if you were in Darkon, where there's a metropolis and all that, you could stay there and not be as much of a social pariah. But if you were in a tiny little realm ruled by 3 hags in the middle of the Ravenloft, in the middle of nowhere, if you sneezed the wrong way, people would say, "A curse! A witch! Burn him!"
Right.
I got no games going on right now. I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a couple of. It's kind of weird that similar products come out at the same time. So there's Cavaliers of Mars and John Carter of Mars games that are coming out this year.
Yeah, we have a whole
No,
section
but
for Kickstarters at the end.
Cavaliers was last year. that
Oh.
financed it, so it's coming out soonish from Onyx Path, and it looks kind of cool. The setting is basically Mars has canals, so Mars has Venice. So
Oh,
you put all that together, so you have swashbucklers on Mars and all that. It's for people who don't want the Sworden Planet, John Carter vibe, but still want the kind of offbeat fantasy, what's going on. So
Yeah, it looks like it would
have
fit.
some martial artifacts and all that.
And I say it reminds me of like if I were to do Vampire D and you got on the spaceship and got to Mars, this would probably be what you found.
no. No. I don't get paid enough to dance on camera. I mean, I don't get paid to be on here, so we'll never know. Been there, done that.
$0.99. Scott, you're still mute on the audio stream, apparently. You're mute. Yeah. Let's continue while he figures
it'll
that
be,
out.
2 seconds here.
So let's move on to Pathfinder, Starfinder news speculation.
Oh, there we go. Cool. Now that you hear me, that'll be wonderful. I'll be completely mute for a while.
Okay,
Fun.
yeah. You're on the stream now. You're good.
Cool. But yeah, anyway,
Yes, Pelly, everyone can hear you. It's fine.
but yeah, anyway, the Maniac is a 9th level caster, does a bunch of emotion casting, bunch of different talent trees based around specific emotions. Yeah, hey guys, by the way, for the first time, if you can hear me.
Yeah, they can hear you now. Yes.
Cool. So we want to move into the next section?
Yeah. Pathfinder and Starfinder news speculation.
Sweet.
Pathfinder is on their Paizo is on their 21st adventure path.
You said 121.
Well, it's issue 1 and 21, and each one is 6 issues.
Oh, okay.
So this would be number 21. And they're going to Azlant, which is Jungletown.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. That's cool. I'll be interested in that. I always like
Order of the
Pathfinder
Imperdie
stuff.
is as usual doing their marathoning and reporting. So
And the
that's
artwork
exciting.
that they get for the hyper-realistic jungle artwork is just fucking great material. Like, that's just a good subject for their art style, you know?
Yeah, very much so.
I found somebody on Facebook found a Skittermander generator that I'm going to share here.
Nice.
A Skittermander?
Yeah, Skittermanders are like the goblins of Starfinder. They're like little Furbies, kind of, / goblins, I guess.
I see. Aren't there already goblins in Starfinder, though?
There are, but there are also Furbies. Or gremlins. Or
Don't they have like multiple arms though?
Mogwai? Like...
Yeah, pretty much.
They got
Pretty much
4
Mogwai
arms
with
and
like
then
6 arms.
big
Make a
fat tails.
Skittermander.
And it makes different Skittermander. It's like Grokken Buffuk is a watermelon Skittermander who likes to tickle and owns an MK3 frag grenade.
He owns one grenade and that's it. He's just like, this is mine.
Jawas. I would liken these to Jawas. It's Jawas
That's
slash
fair.
Ewoks.
Aren't they fuzzy though? Like fuzzy Jawas? Yeah.
Jawas slash Ewoks. I'm sticking with that.
So
So apparently I just rolled up one who was very apologetic and owns an electric harmonica.
hey, that's important, man.
So he's apparently the group like torture expert with his electric harmonica.
Hey man, I play the harmonica. It's not for torture. It's for
Yes, it is,
entertainment when
Mike.
you're very bored and your phone dies.
Yes, it is, Mike.
I don't know. I remember taking a drive, like a 6-hour drive, while my dad was attempting to learn harmonica,
And he was probably on a tiny one too. He wasn't on like a double key or a 13 range. or anything
right.
like that.
Yeah. No, it was a blessing from whatever gods exist that something went wrong with the window and we had to use his harmonica book to keep the window up. The car.
You guys ever see that image that goes around on Facebook every now and then, and it has like an Elsa, like, what is it? It's like it's an Elsa recording thing for the recorder.
Oh yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like
if you
when you
really
just
hate
hate someone
someone,
with
give this
kids.
to their child.
Yeah, give this to them, and just so and a pixie stick, great, Oh man, Elsa, listen, and you're like, oh god. Now I bet you guys
Why?
now wish you couldn't hear me.
Just be thankful, everybody. He doesn't have a recorder right now. Don't, Scott, come back
Don't
here.
forget the harmonica.
Don't. Oh, I don't think he knows how to use the harmonica. And those little shanty ones you find everywhere are terrible.
Yeah, they are.
I don't have one nearby.
Thank God.
Alas.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play harmonica for the viewers because I do not think they want to hear that.
I don't want to hear that, Mike. I assume you're very good, but I'm not a big harmonica dude. So
Well, the key is to have a decent harmonica. That's
not
really
play
it.
harmonica.
Because most harmonicas are very, very restricted into their range, where you're like only playing Irish sea shanties, and that's all. I'm serious. That's what it is.
But that's like half the fun is you can just literally go like this, and it plays an Irish sea shanty.
It only does the upper range of notes, and it's like, why do you even have this thing? Like, this is shrill. Like, why would you do this?
Irish sea shanties. So about Grimmer Space. And
yeah.
also Wesley Snipes and Sean Austin.
Yeah, and a few other designers actually. Like, Jason's involved, I think.
Sean Astin.
Which Jason?
Bullham?
Ah.
Buellman? You guys are not good with names.
No, I am not. I always
There are a
butcher
lot of
his name every
Jasons.
time I say
I'm just
it.
going to point that out. We have several.
So anyway, yeah, we got a bunch more info on a thread on the third party board. Talks about their factions a bunch, and they're kind of responding to comments. Their main account. I don't know. It's kind of cool. I'm still not convinced it's my thing, but hey, I'm willing to give it a shot. So, do we want to move on to D&D 5e?
Yeah, let's do it.
So
there was some actual 5e stuff. That's
Yeah, I know,
happened
right?
for it, so we can talk. I still haven't got to read Xanathars. I'm sure there's lots of fun stuff in it.
Claudio, I hear it was kind of interesting, at least from an artistic perspective.
Yeah, I was called in at the last minute for some fill-in art, so it wasn't expected to be in Xanathar, but I was able to do some different stuff for it that I don't usually do.
Cool.
Like, yeah, I illustrated the page with Japanese names, so I had to do a Japanese style landscape with an Oni and all that, and which was cool. And the section on traps is enormous. You have section on simple traps, like a pit trap and all that, and a section on complex traps that work kind of like a legendary monster.
That's cool.
That keeps stuff happening throughout the round. And there are a few of I actually have my Xanathar right here with me.
Ooh.
Hey, look at that.
That's pretty sexy.
I got 2 copies of these, so And the new archetypes are really interesting. I got taken with the new Arcane Archer, and now I want to write like 20 new Arcane shots options for that class.
Did they end up
Because
doing a
come
Wu
on,
Gen
it's
or
awesome.
just the Samurai?
What?
Did they end up doing a Wu Gen or just the Samurai?
Actually, the all illustrations on the Wizard chapter are for Japanese Oriental characters.
Oh.
So this is the illustration. Which way? Which way? This way.
Oh, there you go.
We can't see
With
that very
a baby,
well.
with a baby Kirin as a familiar.
Cool.
That's cool.
It's for war magic. It's the only arcane tradition in that, and a lot of cool spells too. But what I liked the best was the tips on how to use tools, what kind of extra benefits you can give to proficiencies and all that. Like if you have proficiency with brewer supplies, you can make potable water. You can purify water, for
Alright.
instance.
I can dig that.
It's cool.
So it was a really cool book that I was surprised came out of nowhere. And I did one additional illustration that didn't make it to the final book.
Aw.
They ran out of space.
Do they still own it, or is that for sale?
No, they own it.
Hey, they paid you
I've
for
been
it, right?
I've
Better
been
late
paid
next
for
time.
it.
I'll probably use it somewhere else, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll find a use for it. Yeah.
I did illustrations for Princess of the Apocalypse that they could have used in this book because they reprinted some of the spells,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't. So
They're lost, man.
no, sometimes the art just falls through the cracks, and then 20 years from now it shows up in a different book, 8th edition.
It's a cover art
what's
for the next edition.
The longest running, like, oh man, I turned in this art and it turned up somewhere entirely different incident that you've had.
The illustration for the Druid spell cards is probably my best known D&D illustration, which is the Elven Druid blowing a kiss with the Insect Plague spell, and it got used everywhere with Druids. People walk by, might say, at Gen Con, looking at the print of the illustration. I know that from somewhere. Yeah, you play D&D and you play a Druid. 9 times out of 10, I was right.
That's got to be so cool.
Looking it up.
So I can say what's coming after Xanathar. I hope they start putting out some previews because there's some cool stuff coming along. And I just want to show my art and post stuff on the internet. That's the worst part. I'm now being able to show stuff that I did in May. So now I've done better art that I can't show until November of 2018. So,
Yeah.
Pain.
Indy keeps emailing me like, "Hey, can I share this art?" And I'm like, "No. Can I share the cover?" It's like, "No, you cannot share the cover. We need that cover."
Yeah, but your turnaround is quick.
Compared to
like,
Watsy, yeah.
I had to wait like 2 months at most with your art.
Let's say we for a while we had a 6-month embargo, then we move it to a 2-month embargo, and now we don't have an embargo except for when we release it because it's like, hey, it's free promotion.
Yeah. I just ask people to wait till release, and sometimes for Kickstarter stuff, I'll release it early, just as an update.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's like, wait.
I often ask, hey, put a link to our shit in it if you're sharing it somewhere.
Here's the Claudio. I want to find a better picture of this. This Oni you were talking about.
So, do we want to talk about the next thing while you're looking for that?
Is it walking up on a pagoda?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have like a thumbnail. It's not worth sharing. I want to see more of it though.
So we got a new Unearthed Arcana coming out.
Yeah, new Arcana came out. It's got 3 new subclasses. The Spore is a druid, the brute fighter, and the inventor
wizard.
Wizard, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that name, School of Invention,
I thought it was
because
okay.
that sounds like an artificer, and
Yeah.
that's not what the class does.
It's a
The
chaos
class
mage.
is like a chaos mage for the wizard instead of the sorcerer.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like a afterthought armor ability.
Yeah. So I like the Spore Druid because it's like, hey, you're a
thing's gonna
Blight
get
Druid, but
nerfed.
you're what?
I think you're gonna get nerfed.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like thematically, they weren't like you are super evil. You know, they're much more like, hey, you kind of get this whole life and death thing, and you kind of deal with the cycle of it, and you're all about like, from decay comes life, from life eventually decays. You know, it all kind of goes in that cycle, and I like how they did that with it. The brute fighter's boring as a fucking cardboard pizza, you know, a cardboard cutout.
So is the champion. I mean, it's a fighter.
The brute fighter. It's kind of like a new version of the champion from the player's handbook.
It's fucking
It's
boring.
a simple fighter for people who don't want to make choices during character creation or in advancement. They just want to, make decisions during the game.
I got it. It just
And the bonus
feels
damage
like
output. I'm looking at that. I'm like,
just static bonuses.
Yeah,
it's
but the
just
static
extra
bonus.
damage.
No, I'm saying
Lot of
it's
extra
static
damage, man.
bonuses, which is really boring to me.
It's on average by 20th level an extra 20 damage a round. Like that's a lot.
And it's static.
I mean, it's a static die, so it's a dynamic bonus that changes each time.
Yeah.
But and then the critical level thing too. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of damage too.
Yep.
Tacking on your level to a critical hit.
It's an offensive version of the champion. The champion is more like survival, defense, saving throws, and you get additional improved criticals along the way.
I know. Yeah, I was just my eyes.
The brute is the reverse of that. It's not the champion. It's just.
It felt
thematic.
Well, they get the same.
They
They get the same high level like regeneration ability where like half hit points you.
That's
just regenerate till you're back up to half.
It feels like they were like, okay, it's not a barbarian thematically. It feels like it's not a barbarian. It's a fighter, but it's closer to a barbarian. I'm like,
I felt it could have done with like, why if it's a brute, why didn't we get any kind of like break an object?
Yeah, exactly. Why isn't that like?
Yeah, nothing seems very brooded.
Wow, so you like delayed there. That's weird.
The overwhelming hits with the extra damage every time you attack is brutish, but like, yeah, the rest of it didn't feel. I don't know why they copped out for that survivor thing at the end, honestly.
Yeah. And yeah, the School of Invention for the wizard is basically you play Chaos Mage, and I fucking love that. I'm not sure how well thought out it was.
It reminded me of the gnomes of Dragonlance.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some kind of hint there. If you want to analyze what the classes are that they are trying out, and this is me. I don't know what these classes are for. I only know the art I did for other books. I don't know. I'm just making my ass safe here.
Yes,
but,
yes.
If you're gonna analyze the classes, the Spore Druid reminds me of some Druid sects in Eberron. And the School of Invention with the armor and all that kind of reminded me of the Artificer.
Yep, a lot.
For Eberron as well. So, and the Brute, you have several non-human races in Eberron that could use something like that, like Minotaurs or Ogres, Half Ogres.
You heard it here first, folks. Claudio confirms. Eberron, 5th edition. That's all they're doing for the next 5 years. You've heard it here first. Remember.
More tellingly, that Mike Merles was promoted to D&D's creative director at the very end of last year. So, like, I can definitely see them making expansion moves to start to appropriate those other, like, Dynasty content that they have as part of the IP.
Yeah, and they want, like Ravenloft, they did Curse of Strahd, and then they released Ravenloft in the DM's Guild. And they have several other settings that people are dying to write for. And so they have to do something and then release that setting for the DM's Guild as well.
Speaking of settings they're releasing, there was another free release for Planeshift Ixalan. Ixalan?
I haven't read that yet.
I checked it out real quick.
It's Magic the Gathering, right?
Yeah, Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
Magic the Gathering one. There's a lot of artwork, Claudio.
They're gorgeous
we're
too.
talking an art schedule of maybe 1.25, like a lot.
Yeah,
Jesus.
every plane shift PDF uses the artwork from the cards, and it's always great art. They are phenomenal. I wish I did something for Ixalan because Latin America,
Yeah.
right?
I gotta talk to you afterwards. I just thought of
But,
something.
It's not meant. It wasn't this time yet.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I really think that they were really smart about using their card art, because half the reason people buy Magic the Gathering cards on impulse is, ooh, that's pretty, or oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, hell, if they care about anything or even play the game, there's I bought a pack at Walmart at one point because the card in the front was really pretty. I'm
No,
not even
there's-
ashamed of it either.
I saw some art books like Art of Kaladesh and some others that I can't remember right now. And the art is phenomenal. I know the artists, of course, and the originals are like huge.
Yeah.
You have originals that are like 30 by 20 inches.
You
Jesus.
can't
then
even imagine
they
the
use-
DPI on that, man.
And then they use the tiniest version for the cards. But since the artists make stuff so big, they have high quality art they can reuse for packaging or for banners on events and
Oh yeah.
store events,
Makes a lot
stuff
of
like that.
sense.
Yeah, no, the promotional stuff that they have for Magic is crazy.
An art director told me when I asked what size do you guys usually make the art director said, the bigger the artist makes the art, the more likely it is that Wizards uses the art for some promotional material.
Nice. That's good advice,
So
all you artists out
have-
there.
Yeah, you have art that's like almost 1-to-1 scale,
Jesus.
like Arjani, the white lion guy, dude,
Yeah.
whatever, at 5 feet tall. The original painting.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So,
Yeah. It's cool. It's
yeah.
a cool thing. There are lots of filler stuff. Like there's a lot of flavor tables for playing backgrounds there, and there are a lot of dinosaur stat blocks. There's a merfolk race, and like another vampire race, I think, which is a reprint, and a lot of other reskins. And then at the end, they have a Colors of Magic supplement, which I was really excited about until I read it, and it was just all about role playing. Which I was like, well, "Fuck, I can do that. Like, I can. That's not hard." Like, I thought you were going to give me something of substance, but it's just like, oh, well, if you're blue, then you do divination spells mostly, and the magic comes from islands. I'm like, no shit, that's how it works. Like, what are you
Right,
talking
I was
about?
gonna say that seems intuitive
Right.
if you deal with magic at all.
Exactly. So it was just like a weak push, and I was like, why'd you even bother? Come on.
Yeah, look at me. I don't know shit about magic.
Mhm.
I tried playing on my son's tablet. I played some Magic online, but like 5 games at
Sure.
most. And that kind of soft, it's not rules, it's rulings.
Yeah, it's just role playing.
It's not a hard cut. You have to do this to be blue and all that. But it kind of explains the IP a bit, which is what this plane shift does. They want to merge the fan bases a bit.
Yeah, and they've got like 40 or some pages of it, and then they just tack on this like, it's like wearing a really nice coat and then wearing your shittiest boots. Like you see the person, you're like, oh wow, you're looking. Oh damn, dude, I can see your toe. Like, why are you doing that? That's what it felt like.
Sometimes adding something on,
Their
the same
shoes
quality is it hurts the product.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Actually, weird comment I remember on one of my pieces, like one of the books. I
Even
put
something small, like 1 feet per mana caster, right? And it's not like it's weird themes. People who see black mana are probably going to associate that with black magic and, Ray of Enfeeblement and so on and so forth. And the same thing with white mana and curing and like green stuff in nature. The red one and blasting. The blue one is the only one that's a little bit weird.
It's the meta one.
Yeah.
So my background is I used to play in tournaments when I was a teenager. I never got very good, but I played in local tournaments. And yeah, I was what?
Booster drafts.
I never did that. We were
Yeah, you had money, so you didn't have to. You went to real tournaments, but I did not, so I went to booster drafts because that was an equal playing field.
I was what's it called? I did I was mostly green blue worm decks, man. Fuck them up. Because you have the blue to keep low mana cost blues to keep everyone off the field until you get your big fucking like 9 mana worms to come out. And you're
I
like,
went out of my way to make a
Fuck it up.
Necropotence deck.
What?
Necropotence was a Necropotence, which was a black card from Ice Age, and it froze your draw phase. You didn't draw.
Oh shit!
You just sacrificed life, and then you just picked up that many cards. So it was just like a race to get Necropotence out, and people knew that if I did, it was the end of the game because it's like Soulburn for 28 damage.
When they first started doing you remember Sierra Avatar at all?
No, we're not doing Magic.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, it's attack and defense
cool
was equal to its life.
Check it out. And there's other RPG news we can talk about.
Sweet, yeah, go for it.
FFG announced their Realms of Terranoth for the Genesis system. So like the Genesis system, they're doing like I think just like a regular core release, but then they're also releasing a setting for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're pushing really hard. It's tied into all their board games and stuff.
That's cool.
Like Runebound, I'm messing that up. It's not Runebound, something else. I don't do board games. For people who play board games, and I understand Fantasy Flight makes the best board games up there with Asmodee, I'm sure they'll be excited about the bridge. I don't know. I don't like the Genesis system very much.
The latest Star Wars LCG expansion is going to be the last.
Oh yeah, I did not know that.
They're shutting down or rebooting. I don't know, the Star Wars card game. Game of Thrones they also shut down, and Netrunner they had to reboot once or twice already. I don't know. So
I got to work on the world book for Netrunner. When did they reboot it? Did they change any of the stuff I wrote about it?
I don't. I read it on Facebook. I think it wasn't an FFG post about the Star Wars one. So I don't know how long these properties are sustaining themselves.
Yeah.
For the LCG, I think the Star Wars spaceship battle games are doing better right now.
Yeah, the X-Wing Armada. And then they re-released Munchausen, but I still have to pick up a re-release of it.
I gotta pick up any release of it. I've been bumming off of their the base rules are free, and then all the variations and all the flavors what you pay for.
Yeah. It's a fun book.
Do you want to move on to current Kickstarters? Or other media interests? Sorry, other media interests.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a Hellboy board game
just
coming
as a
out.
time check, we are at 6:10, by the way, guys.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going. So yeah, Mantic Games is launching a Hellboy board game in 2018.
That's cool.
Hellboy's cool. So
I agree.
And then
you saw the first image of the new guy who's playing Hellboy, right?
Oh, yeah. I did not.
Harbor.
Yeah.
I avoid all teaser material.
It's ripped.
Yeah.
I mean, that is part of the idea.
Yep.
He
Overwatch
looks
League.
So much larger than Ron Perlman.
Yep. But Ron Perlman's a big dude. Like not like tall,
Yes.
but he's beefy.
But as Hellboy, his head seemed a bit large.
Yeah.
And David Harbour, I don't know, his head seemed small compared to how wide his arms are.
So Overwatch League season 8 started. You can check out some new skins and shit.
Yeah, actually, Steph and I ended up watching it on Twitch last night. It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
If you haven't played Overwatch, it is a first-person shooter game, and it's like the biggest esports game right now, I think.
That's fair to say. It's up there. Let's say if you haven't played Overwatch, it's TF2, but they decided to make it more Square Enixy.
It's better. It's better than TF2.
Oh, fuck you. Oh, go die in a hole.
Yeah.
No.
It is, dude. Nope. It is. I mean,
0%.
First of all, there's no spy. So there's no like, oh, my ally just ran past me and stabbed me in the back.
That's so much fun, though.
I'm not saying
dude, here. I'm playing both of them. I played both of them, and I still go back to TF2. How many years old is that right now? It's like a decade almost. You know.
I got no dog in this race, my dudes.
I would say that also Overwatch has way more options. There's like 30
Yeah,
or some characters.
I was gonna say I will point out that Overwatch has ladies.
Oh,
which
that's you.
is-
So here's the thing. Also, we don't know what spy or pyro is. I still maintain the whole pyro is a girl thing. But yes, I agree. That's very upsetting.
Oh darn! They had one lady, maybe, who you never see. It only counts as representation
No,
if you know
I
they're there.
agree.
All of the elements of game design, Overwatch is a better game. Dude.
I completely disagree. And the
Are you
fact
serious?
this has been alive so long and is still gaining players is
It's free.
showing it. Yeah, so what?
So
was
that's a
charged me to do
huge
it.
barrier, dude.
Let's say, so the other thing is, like, you're saying 30 characters. All right, so every one of the characters in TF2 has their own variation on weapons, and there are radically different play styles.
There are different play styles for characters in Overwatch as well.
Yeah,
but
that's
my
what
points
the
would be
same
like
was.
So
Overwatch is a more compelling game
we're
to
gonna
play.
table this
No,
for next week.
No. We're doing a little bit right now.
So here's the other thing, right? I can play TF2 for an hour
Here's the
and
functional
have fun.
difference in Overwatch that makes it better than Team Fortress games. Okay, it's the timing of the matches.
What, the fact that it's 5 minutes long and you have to wait for 10 minutes for your fucking next game?
It might be 5 minutes long. If the defenders kick your ass, it's 5 minutes
I'd
long.
say
You pull out the
TF2 is-
overtime. It can go out to 15 minutes. It can go out to 16.
Oh no, I
had
played a
game that went to
45-minute
20
game of
minutes.
TF2, and it was a lot of fun.
But it's a fixed time. That's what I'm telling you is the problem there.
What?
Overwatch
With what?
is a more compelling game because it extends the time of the match depending
wait.
on how closely you are matched against one another.
You've played TF2, right? You know that
Not
not
for
all,
like 3 years.
but say you do know that not all of the matches are timed like that.
All the matches I remember playing are timed.
They're not, dude. There are even games that are just
Oh, were they by death counts or by what?
So there are control point matches that aren't timed. There are payload races ones that are not timed. There are new. Savannah, I understand.
All right.
Intermission, please. All right, Mike. This is another Christmas Carol thing, Muppet Christmas Carol thing. So I think we'll table this for next time.
Citizens, you should
Oh man, we
stop
got
your
Superman in
complaining.
here, guys. Thinks you should stop fighting.
All right. So
Kryptonite's dead.
I use this
Opinions
for my reference shots.
I like it.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
the cheapest male doll with good articulation.
I like it.
So
Mike, he's
I think
distracting us
difference,
with that. TF2's better.
Toys!
toys.
So let's
I
move
also
on
have a Barbie.
to current Kickstarters here.
All right. We talked about Frankenstein. Somebody raced
last
it.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, but it's still active, isn't it?
Sure, go check it
Yes,
out.
but I didn't
Mention it and give people the link, but now I'm not going to because it's not on the thing.
Yep.
Whatever.
because
So-
I'm a mean person.
You are.
I am rated M for meanie.
A D13 game.
Ew.
Yeah, I. So the idea is apparently that you roll a 1d4 plus a 1d10 -1.
That sounds really complex for what it needs
So,
to be.
yeah, I was gonna say, so you get a range of 1 to 13. Like,
No, you don't.
I feel like
You don't. 'Cause it's
it would still be gimmicky and dumb, but just
Yeah.
roll a d13. They make them.
Yeah, that's true.
that
It's
sounds
It's
very
dumb, but
arbitrary.
they make them. I thought it was worth talking about. If nothing else, if you open up the link on the banner, there seems to be an evil lady with some wild hair and some armored sphinx cats. So yeah, that's a thing.
So we had the John Carter one. I know, Claudio, you talked about this before.
Yeah.
We've talked about John Carter a few times on here. On the show. Not the Kickstarter,
Yeah, I just saw the announcement, and the setting is really cool. Barsoom has a
Yep.
really deep story and all that, and hopefully they'll be able to. John Carter has that, human on Mars, super strong thing, super fast and all that.
He's the iconic
So,
Sword and Planet.
I don't know. Yeah, it's Sword and Planet, but John Carter was special because he was John Carter.
Mhm.
Hopefully, you'll be able to include Earth people on Mars and not have them steal the show. It's
So,
like playing Buffy with a Slayer.
Space Marines and everyone else.
So
Yeah.
I
Feel-
a while back I actually got to write called A Dream of Mars. It was a Pathfinder supplement for Sword and Planet. It was actually for John Carter. We contacted their estate and they're like, we're not going to give you a license. I'm like, well, you're public domain in region locked in the U.S. They're like, yes, we have the trademark on these terms. So I respectfully said, sure, sounds great. Got Jack Holiday to do the cover artwork, then put on the intro page. We acknowledge that they have these terms, and they list all the terms out, and I said, they will not be appearing in this book. So there is no Barsoom, it's Mars. You know what I mean? There's no Dejas Thoris, it's the
Yeah.
princess. Like, we had to, like, it's the Green Martians, you know? We couldn't say specific terms. But it's interesting that they finally got their IP wrangled into doing an actual RPG game, and I'm pretty stoked to see that come into it. Because Sword and Planet's something that's very... You guys know that I like my abstract, pulpy weirdness, and that has always been a thing for me. I actually, last year, I think, reread A Princess of Mars, and man, it is like the pulpiest pulp book you'll ever read, and it's a very interesting one, because it just kind of like says like fuck all to its own logic and does whatever it wants sometimes, and I kind of love that.
I don't think any of the Barsoom books were ever released in Brazil. At least not within living memory.
Mm-hmm.
So I just 2 years ago I read Lankmar for the first time. It's really hard to get those classic pulps up here.
That's
You
one I
get
always want to work
Conan.
on, man.
You get Conan once a year. They re-release Conan and all that, but they don't release the additional stuff that help it build the D&D mentality.
I really want to do a Lankmar book. I know getting that IP would be like fucking impossible, but man, I would love to write it.
Savage Worlds just did Lankmar.
Yeah, I saw it and I loved how they did
I
it.
did
man.
art for that.
You did art for
I was able
that?
to do-
You lucky bastard.
I was able to do Fafford and the Grey Mouser.
Nice!
Yes!
Oh, that's a fucking dream come true, man.
Claudio, you touch everything, you son of a bitch.
So
Fingers,
Onion.
these
It's going to turn into a Highlander
fingers.
situation. Lock your doors,
so
Claudio.
I will steal all your illustration skills by consuming your heart.
Yeah, but see, then the joke will just be on Mike, because then he'll be his own editor, his own layout designer, his own artist, his own
Every
whatever.
5 years,
And then
every
he'll
line.
just
Mike will
explode
build
and
the
die.
mountain.
So,
Mike, so there's something I want to bring up at one point. So, what is the weirdest credit you have in a book? Because I have a credit as an artist in a book.
I have artist credits.
I should not have artist credits. I'll tell you that much.
No, I've done legit art. I mean, like, I don't know how legit. I don't know how you put it. I mean, like, I have made images from scratch.
Yeah, me too.
I made
Yeah.
what you call it, the Great Cross from scratch, and a couple of other things. But
I did artwork for. I do heraldic stuff with the SCA and everything. I did a bunch of banners, and I actually made the poles and everything. Because
yeah.
believe it or not, I've learned art things. It's graphic design more than it's art. So it's like
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
It's like I made this thing that looks like it's a giant eye in a furnace, but like I didn't draw it per se. I created it from existing things.
No. I mean, I did everything from scratch.
You
Like
remix them.
Yeah. I'm like a DJ.
So I have a really weird thing.
An art
Most
DJ.
people start like, oh, I started with Photoshop. I started with whatever. I'm like,
Paint.net, y'all.
well, I'm saying my first like serious like one was I started in Illustrator. So my brain always works like it's an Illustrator whenever I do artwork. So I'm very vector based, and I'm always like, okay, so this is how this curve and this spline works, and this works, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's how that thing goes, and it's always very mathy to my brain.
Captain Airbrush. I
Illustrator,
airbrushed.
that's neat. I think in Corel Draw terms.
Yep. I mean, nowadays I think in InDesign terms because I think I live like 20% of my free time there.
I started in my professional career when it was still PageMaker.
Nice.
Adobe PageMaker, then Quark Express, then InDesign.
All right, so
I'm old.
no, dude, that's
Yeah,
that's right.
that's
You want to
a
hear an old
decent-
one? I did some animation when I was a kid. You know what I used? I used Macromedia Director.
Oh, I remember making
drew little- I drew
GeoCities
little
website when it was new.
Stick
So-
figures on the side of a book and flipped it over.
All right, you win. Another.
I remember going down past the 3rd grade class to the library to build our websites.
So let's talk about Mask of the Red Death.
Whippersnappers.
Mask of the Red Death.
You guys know the iconic Post story. They're doing kind of a cool little RPG Kickstarter. I don't know. I looked at the artwork. It's kind of fun. They've
It's a board game.
It's a board game, yeah.
Board games.
A board
They have a
game
cool
for
stand-up
Mask of the Red
clock
Death.
thing. That looks neat. Yeah, it's not Kingdom Death.
There was a D20 setting for Ravenloft. Mask of the Red Death.
Yeah.
And
It had all
I
the
did art for that too.
it had all the what do you call it? The character classes who were like mundane character classes, basically. They're like social things, if I remember correctly.
There are not any lower donation tiers. That's interesting.
What's the lowest one?
$60.
All right, there you go.
There are only 2. Be fair, there are only 2.
It's 60 and what else?
180.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
this is great. This reminds me of the Dragon magazine that was with the pulp rules.
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. It wasn't Ravenloft. It was the pulp thing. Yeah.
I still have it.
I reread that when I was doing the social alt path social characters.
Great. I never got to play it, but it was really neat. All right, Claudio.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about, man? It's free discussion. Up to
Yeah,
you.
let's say we're gonna do till like 9:30 here, so we got about another 8-10 minutes here.
I got nothing, man.
All right, so
you guys
Claudio,
are so good at talking shit up.
yeah, I know. So Claudio, here, let me ask you something then. So you obviously have a passion for your art. You have a passion for all that stuff. What's your inspiration? What gets you up in the morning? What gets you to draw, to do your stuff, to do what you do best?
He's got hobbits and a kid.
Yeah. That, besides, the usual food on the table and all that.
Yeah. Outside of that,
you know what? The properties I work on are stuff that really excites me. When I did my first D&D illustration, when I did my first piece for the Player's Handbook for 5th edition, every time I get an email saying, "Oh, we have a new product coming up. Are you available to do art?" The heart skips a beat. Yes, payment, but also, "Whoa, cool! I'll be able to do stuff." So I've been able to illustrate creatures, for instance, that I first read on a monster manual at 7th grade
nice.
after watching the D&D cartoon on TV. So
There's a gateway
and
for
I
so
did-
many people.
I did stuff for Star Wars for Fantasy Flight. I did Lord of the Rings is a newer fandom for me because I only read the books like a couple of months before the movies came out.
Yeah.
I never read Lord of the Rings as I was younger, but Star Wars and D&D were always with me. The next best thing for me would be to work with Masters of the Universe, because holy shitballs, man, Masters of the Universe would be fucking amazing.
All right, when Mike or I get that IP, we'll give you a call.
Yeah. Did you have you been watching? You have Netflix, right?
No.
Oh no. Oh, there's a really good documentary about.
Yeah, the toys that made us. I
Yeah.
want to watch that. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to cry a couple of times because I still remember every single one of my toys. I took really good care of them. So, for instance, I still have here
Oh shit,
this
the
rancor
Rancor.
monster that moves his mouth.
Nice, dude.
And I played with this motherfucker in 1984.
God
And
damn.
it's still here.
So it's
If
a
you're
He's
long
a
running
durable
passion.
Rancor now.
Dude, I'd go grab one of my my He-Man toys if you lost yours, and next time I see you,
I had to give mine away. I gave mine to my cousin who was a kid because, "Oh, you're getting married, you're leaving house, we're selling the house, we have nowhere to keep him. Give him to your cousin." Oh, I regret that to this day, man.
No, apparently my dad had a similar problem. Like he was in Star Wars probably around the same time, and yeah, no,
Your
he had
dad, around
like
the same
boxes
time.
of the
Yes,
stuff,
thank you.
and his parents were like, "Nope, it's gone now. Sorry."
I just have boxes
I'm
of
feeling
Zoids
all-
at my house.
Oh no, I got pretty much every original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figure because that was it. That was it for
Yep.
years and years and
Yep.
years and years and years.
For me, it was that and Batman. I had to have every goddamn Batman.
I
out
got
there.
some X-Men and some Marvel, and then I have a lot of He-Man too. I remember I had Castle Grayskull, and I had the fucking the turtle blimp and the turtle bus and the Shredder Deathmobile thing, the giant sphere.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like yeah.
The,
A
How do
friend
you
of mine
feel about the
found
newest,
a Castle Grayskull
Ninja Turtle movies.
I didn't subject
The
myself to
last
them.
one felt like an episode of the cartoon.
Yeah, the most recent one I was like, okay. And the one before that I was like, this is terrible. Like the first rebooted one they did, I remember like this is shit. But the second one was okay.
I skipped them.
That was kind of my reaction as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you saying about Castle Grayskull, Savannah?
A friend of mine had found a Castle Grayskull playset at Goodwill like last year.
Oh my god.
Yup. And so she did this thing where it was 50 Shades of Grayskull, and so like
Nice.
for 50 days she would like pose like the playset with something. It's like, oh man, the castle has a hidden stash of socks, and it'd be all for wacky knee socks all over it.
Oh, I was hoping it was going to be Skeletor and He-Man doing like salacious things.
That would have, as far as I know, they didn't have any of the figures or anything like that. They only ended up with the castle.
Oh, man, missed opportunities.
Are a little bit unusual here, man.
Yeah, no, that would have been great, especially if it was Skeletor with the knee socks. I don't know.
All right.
All right. Well, Claudio, no, I got one on.
All right, more.
What is your, if you can't say your most favorite illustration you've done, your most memorable illustration that you've done?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, there's the one illustration that I keep chasing the quality I achieved on that is the one I did of Elspeth that I did for my portfolio.
Oh yeah, the one that won the Gen Con award.
Yeah,
Yeah, the angel. It's a dope piece. Yeah.
that one I was told it was almost good, but never mind that. Yes, but that's the quality I keep chasing, and I've done a couple of illustrations later last year for the upcoming books that kind of get there, but it's a different pose and all that. It's not one figure with a lot of details and emotion, all that. Very the one with the fewest characters has like 8 characters.
8 characters.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right, so he's definitely doing Eberron, everybody. But no, so you would say this one. I would say this one
that I know
feels the
I
most
actually
like.
already did Eberron for Princess of the Apocalypse.
Ah.
So let me tell you this story. There was an appendix on Princess of the Apocalypse for using the adventure in several different campaigns. So you had Greyhawk, you had Eberron, you had Dark Sun, and the art order for the description for the illustration for Eberron was a landscape with the lightning rail in the distance. Very, scenery stuff. And that wasn't working. The art directors at WotC said, maybe we should just cut this illustration and just move along and all that.
Oh, no.
And I really wanted the money.
Yeah.
And I told the guys at Sasquatch, who was the studio doing the book, you know what? Let me try to come up with something. So I put every single Eberonic thing in one illustration. Warforged on an airship piloted by a dragon market air fighting the cultists from the adventure. And then
Amazing.
boom!
Nice.
So yeah, I already did Dark Sun, Eberron.
All right. Cool.
And I did Dark Sun as well. And the feedback I got was, cover her ass. Cover all their asses.
But it's Dark Sun. No one's got
Yeah.
clothes there.
Yeah,
know,
they
right?
need coverage or they're gonna crisp, man.
I did a card for Star Wars that was Princess Leia stealing a speeder bike. It's for the stolen speeder bike card.
In the it was like during the it looked like it was set during Return of the Jedi, right? She's
Yeah.
like speeding towards us.
In Andor, Leia was piloting away, looking backwards.
Yeah.
Work and all that. And last year or 2 years ago, some fans came to the table for me to sign their cards. And then I looked at the card, something's different. And I opened my phone, went to my Facebook page and opened the image. And sure enough, they enlarged the poncho to cover Leia's ass. Because Leia was leaning over the speeder bike.
Yeah.
And with the poncho flying out, you could still see her ass because that's what humans have at the end of their spines.
Wait, what? Really?
But
No.
I know, right?
Yep.
I didn't
True.
draw attention to it at all, but Fantasy Flight felt the need to enlarge the poncho to cover most of Leia's ass. I'm pretty sure Carrie Fisher would be ecstatic by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would.
All right, guys. So, Claudio, thanks for joining us.
Yes, dude, this is
Thank
really
you for
fun.
having me.
Coming on.
That was awesome, man. All
Anytime,
right.
man, anytime.
Definitely. So, yeah. join us
Eventually,
in-
we are going to start rotating guests, but we try to do somebody new every week. But we're going to run out eventually.
I was gonna say, FYI, taking suggestions for next week.
Owen still owes us his interview. He keeps telling us.
Yeah, that'd be good. I need to bother him about other stuff too. So.
Well, that's right. He still owes me a huge review, and I haven't gotten anything from him, and it's like forever. But Owen, I love you. Give me feedback.
Did we have Luis on? I can't remember. I think we did.
Yes.
Yeah, we
LPJ?
did.
It was before.
Yeah.
It was before I came on. I think.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a nice one.
Yeah. Next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.